Protesting by truck got a little more expensive over the weekend, or for that matter, filling up your gas tank. The war in Ukraine is affecting us here at home. In our next hour, we'll talk about just how that war is affecting everything from our gas tanks to focus on the issue that once consumed Washington, including Donald Trump. That fighting intensifying over the weekend, Ukraine's president pleading with the U.S. and NATO to send more weapons, including jets from Poland. He asked for a no-fly zone to be established, the U.S. saying that is a no-go. In the meantime, the Russian shelling of Ukrainian cities continues. The civilian casualties continue to mount, and more tough talk from Vladimir Putin. Joining us this morning right now is our our chief foreign affairs correspondent, Nayyera Haqq. And Nayyera, Americans are feeling the sting of war 1 gallon of gas at a time.
Del, we are seeing in some places in California where gas is now $7 a gallon. Here in the D.C. area, it's common to see $5 a gallon. But how much of that can really be blamed simply on this war between Russia and Ukraine? Now, some of it is the volatility of the markets. Russia is a significant exporter of natural gas. In fact, Germany takes 60% of its gas and energy from Russia. But over the last 2 years, and the White House went through great pains to remind folks about this last year, the United States has significantly increased its own production. In fact, it was a net exporter of oil as well as natural gas. So if the United States has enough of a domestic supply, why the pain at the pump? And that's what we'll hope to unravel today and see how the Biden administration addresses the rise in gas prices. At the moment, they are saying it is because of volatility in the markets and the concern over war in Europe. At the end of the day, full energy independence would make the United States less susceptible to rising gas prices.
Nayyera, I was fascinated by this, that they're now reaching out not only to the Saudis, who we were at odds with over the assassination of Jamal Khashoggi, but also now to Nicolas Maduro down in Venezuela.
The United States, actually in Colorado, is one of the world's largest oil producers, as is Nigeria. So there are other options for the United States in terms of who we want to deal with and what kind of economic relationships we build. But those conversations are necessary even to have with the frenemies in the world, because again, their influence, their decision to release oil or hold it back can affect gas prices.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Nayyera, the U.S. is walking that fine line between supporting an ally and making moves that Russia will see as an act of war. Tough talk coming out of Russia and Vladimir Putin again.
Well, a lot of that talk might not be backed up at this point. Vladimir Putin did say through Russian state media that any country that supports Ukraine's efforts or allows their bases to be used in support of Ukraine will be considered an enemy. That's part of why the United States has been actively avoiding making this a conflict about the United States versus Russia and focusing strictly on how other countries can help Ukraine. The United States has provided more Stinger missiles to Ukraine. Those are the missiles that are being used to topple Russian aircraft and respond to Russian military. So that is how the support is going right now, but it's a tricky needle to thread, given that the United States can't have its own flags on any of the artillery or equipment that is being used against Russia.
Nayyera, one final question before I let you go, which is how long can Americans take pain at the pump? As we point out from time to time, we just came out of a pandemic. People right now are starting to venture out, and yet you're looking at gas, $7 a gallon in places like L.A., that puts a dent in any wallet. I was actually talking to my wife this morning about the difference in filling up, and it happened yesterday where when the pump stopped, I looked at my credit card and said, do I have enough money left on the old card?
You can't fill up a tank the same way anymore with the same amount of money, and those are the places where we directly see the impact of policy decisions. Inflation, right? Highest in 40 years. Some of it coming out of the pandemic, but let's not forget, Del, that actually the producers, right, the oil and gas companies are making record profits. So there's something not quite right here that consumers, that average citizens, black and brown people, that we're the ones feeling the pain at the grocery store and the pain at the pump. Who will we hold accountable, though? The Biden administration clearly worried that this is going to impact Democrats' results in the midterm elections.
our chief foreign affairs correspondent, Nayyera Haqq. Nayyera, thank you very much.